Hello everybody and welcome back to Read and Reread. My name is Angelia and today I am doing a book haul. Welcome to the channel if you are new. Some people have subscribed this week, so welcome. And if you enjoy this video, give it a like, subscribe if you haven't. I do a couple of videos a week talking about books and reading. I do a Friday reads about what I've been reading that week, and then another video usually on Tuesday. Might be a tag, might be a haul, something like that. So without further ado, these are books that I have somehow accumulated over the past couple of months. So the last haul I did was like at the end of December. I had books that I had received for Christmas, and then we hit that Barnes & Noble half price hardcover sale. So after that, I wasn't aware that I was book shopping, but I'm seeing a pile of books here. So obviously some sort of surreptitious shopping took place, and I have now acquired a number of new books. Some of them you have already seen because I've read them and they've appeared in videos recently, but some of them you have not yet seen. So hang on and take a look at my haul. If you've read any of these books, please let me know what you thought, or if you've had an exciting haul of your own, you can share that with me in the comments. All right, let's look at the books. First of all, we have Dangerous Liasons, which you have seen. I purchased this book specifically to participate in the Classics and Company year-long read-along of different books. This was a reread for me, but I read it like back in the 80s. So I remembered the overall outline of the story, but I'd forgotten all of the juicy details of this French novel from the 18th century. I'm really glad to have my own copy. It's a really fun read. It's epistolary and it's scandalous and dastardly. So that was a fun read. I will put a link to the Classics and Company read-along information in the notes in case you are interested in participating. They're doing a new book about every 6 weeks or so. I'm not reading the current one. I'm taking a break there, but I'm going to join in again on the next one that comes up. So I'll talk about that when we get to it. All right, the next one you've also seen. It's Dr. No by Percival Everett. And it's the third Percival Everett book that I have read following The Trees and Telephone. I did talk about it in more length last week, I think, in Friday Reads. And if you want to hear about it, you can kind of double back and check on that. But it's basically a parody. It's a humorous book. It's kind of a spoof on James Bond thrillers. And it's fun. It has a lot of wordplay. It's goofy. I didn't love it like I loved The Trees and Telephone, but if you are an Everett fan, it is a fun book to read. So that was Dr. No. I'm still trying to figure out what I should do next with Percival Everett. Which book of his should I read next? I think possibly Erasure or So Much Blue. Somebody, if you have an opinion on this, let me know in the comments. All right, then I think I did have this maybe in a tag video, but I have not yet read it. And this is Elena Knows by Claudia Pineiro. And translated by Frances Riddle. And this is a book about a woman who lives in Buenos Aires. But anyway, that's where she lives. And she has Parkinson's disease. Her daughter has recently been found having apparently committed suicide, but Elena does not believe that it is suicide. And so she kind of sets off on a one-woman detective mission across the city, but she is hampered by her body's limitations with her Parkinson's disease. And so she has to painstakingly time her travels to the periods of time when her medication is kicking in and allowing her a little more freedom of movement. So it's supposed to be suspenseful and extremely sad, and I'm looking forward to reading it, but I don't know exactly when I'm going to read it, but sometime this year. So, but I have it ready. The next book is a book that I specifically ordered so it would be here in time for March. because one of the March themes is Irish writers, and I wanted to read more Claire Keegan. So I got Antarctica, which is, I believe, her first book, and it is a collection of short stories. It was published in 1999. It has really great reviews. I don't know anything about it. Well, I mean, I know that it's Claire Keegan. It has good reviews, and that's really all I need, because I kind of want to acquire all of her books that I haven't read, and then everything else moving forward, because I was blown away last year by Forster and small things like these. It was one of my author discoveries of the year, along with Percival Everett and Sarah Winman. Those are like my favorite author discoveries of people that I hadn't read before. So anyway, I'm really excited. I'm saving it a couple of weeks for March, and this is one of the Irish writers that I want to. If I only get to one, this is the one it's going to be. But I have a couple others that I might throw into the TBR, and we'll see how it all pans out. All right, then next is a book that is a sequel to one of my top 12 books from last year, and it is Parable of the Talents by Octavia Butler. So I read Parable of the Sower, and you know what? That's another author that I had not read previously. So last year was a great year for me for discovering authors, either new or not new, that I just hadn't read before. So I read Parable of the Sower. I loved it. It shot up into, my top books of the year. And this is the sequel. In the first book, a young teenage woman becomes the leader of a group of people in a post-apocalyptic situation. And so this is the sequel, and it says, in 2032, Lauren Alameda has survived the destruction of her home and family and created a peaceful community in Northern California based on her newly founded faith, Earthseed. The fledgling group provides refuge for blah, 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 a whole bunch of different kinds of people in an increasingly divided and dangerous nation. Sounds familiar. Lauren's subversive colony, a minority religious faction led by a black woman, becomes a target for President Jarrett's reign of terror and oppression. So then, years later, her daughter is reading the journals that Lauren kept. And the journals and the notes are also part of Parable of the Sower. So I really recommend the first book. I'm really excited to read this one. The next one is a book that I bought it now, but I'm not going to read it until later towards the end of the year, and that is The Friendly Young Ladies by Mary Renault. This book I did pick up for a reading challenge or a read along. It's one of the books in the Queer TBR Tackle hosted by Greg at Supposedly Fun and Jenn at Jenn the Librarian. I've linked it before, but I will link it again. And this is the December book, actually, but I had an attack of FOMO when it was introduced because it sounded really good. And Greg mentioned that it was might be hard to acquire, that maybe there wouldn't be a lot of copies available to purchase. And I didn't see it in the library. And so I grew concerned. So I saw a copy available to purchase and I bought it. So even though I don't need it till December, I'm ready. And this book, it sounds so cute for December too. It's not Christmassy, but it just, it sounds a little more lighthearted. It says, set in 1937, The Friendly Young Ladies is a romantic comedy of off Bloomsbury Bohemia. Sheltered, naive, and just 18, Elsie leaves the stifling environment of her parents' home in Cornwall to seek out her sister Leo, who had run away 9 years earlier. She finds Leo sharing a houseboat and a bed with the beautiful fair-haired Helen. While Elsie's arrival seems innocent enough, it is the first in a series of events that will turn Helen and Leo's contented life inside out. Soon, a randy young doctor is chasing after all three women at once. Now, sounds like they're not going to be interested. A neighborly friendship begins to show an erotic tinge, and long, quiet ghosts from Leo's past begin to surface. Before long, no one is sure just who feels what for whom. All right, so this sounds really fun, and I'm looking forward to it, and I'm going to save it I'm gonna get tempted because it's in paperback. I know I'm gonna go on a trip and think this looks like a good one, but I'm gonna try to save it till closer to the time so that it's fresh. But we'll see. I might cheat. This next one, I'm gonna blame this one on Steven because he said it was really, really good. He read this. He does like to read on his iPad. He will download books, and I don't ever read in that format, but sometimes if he's just, really loved the book, I will either put it on my library list or buy it for a print copy. So that's what happened here. He read this book and highly recommended it. It was the winner of the Booker Prize in 2021, but somehow I missed out. I didn't even hear about this book. And I wasn't really active on BookTube at that time. That was before I retired. So that's my excuse for being kind of in the dark. This is Damon Galgut, The Promise, which is a story of a family in South Africa that is, it says, haunted by an unmet promise, the Swart family gradually comes apart after the death of their matriarch. Adrift, the lives of the three siblings move separately through the uncharted waters of a changing South Africa. So I think it's, sort of a family saga kind of thing with the South African setting, playing a strong role in the stuff that goes on. So that sounds super intriguing. Now we have a mystery, The Family Chow by Samantha Chang. And I heard about this book all through last year. It was always on my list, and I never, I kind of remembered it and forgot it, remembered it and forgot it. So it popped up. I had a chance to get a nice hardback copy at a really good price on Thrift Books, so I threw it into my cart. And I knew it was the kind of book that Stephen and I might both read because we like mysteries. The father of the family business is found murdered. The sons are all possible suspects. There's three brothers. They all would have motives. I guess the dad was kind of a piece of work. That sounds a little bit Dostoevsky, and I'm sure that's no accident, but it is, so you have a oftentimes funny and sometimes sad portrait of a Chinese-American family who run that most ubiquitous of institutions, the Chinese restaurant. With nuance and slyness, wit and empathy, Chang turns the desires and deceits of one unhappy family into a moving and compelling saga of that classic American illness, ambition. And that is a blurb from Viet Thanh Nguyen, author of The Committed. So that sounds pretty good. Oh, look, here's the Dostoevsky remark. Jess Walter, who wrote The Cold Millions, which is a really good book, says, at once a brilliant reimagining of Dostoevsky and a wholly original and gripping story about the passions, rivalries, and searing pressures that roil a singular immigrant family. Yes. All right. The second to last book is Things in Jars by Jess Kidd. Again, kind of stumbled into a deal on this nice hardback, and it's pretty. Look how pretty these are. Oh, you have to open it all the way up, and then there's a mermaid. So the reason why I bought this book was because we got the night ship in that Barnes & Noble haul. Stephen read it, and he loved it. He said I think he said it was did he say it was one of the best books of the year or one of the best books ever? I don't know. He said something very superlative about it, and he keeps asking me when I'm going to read it, and I am going to read it soon. I'm really eager to read it, but I just read like 2 historical fiction type things just now, so I need like a contemporary break, but I am going to read it soon. I'm very excited about it. But based on the strength of his review, I took this opportunity to purchase another book by Jess Kidd, thinking that we will both enjoy that as well. And all I need is this one little teeny paragraph here. Victorian London, I'm like, sold, comes to life in this spellbinding mystery, double sold, as an intrepid female sleuth, triple sold, wades through a murky world of collectors and criminals to recover a remarkable child. So yeah, it has like a whole bunch of things that I love rolled into one. How could it go wrong? And so I am excited about that. The last book is I'm going to just throw up a picture of it because it did not get here in time because I forgot to put it in my thrift books order, and then I remembered that I need it for March. But I got a freebie. You know, if you do thrift books, you buy a certain amount and then you get like free credits of a book above, you know, like up to $7 or whatever. And so I did get a copy of it, and it is Ian Forster's book, The Longest Journey, and I think it was his second novel. My library did not carry it, and I don't have a copy. And I think I have a copy of all his other novels, so I figured I would just go ahead and purchase this copy or actually get it for free. And so it is on the way. I don't know anything about it, but I'm really enjoying the Forster read along. We read Where Angels Fear to Tread, his first novel, and then this month we've been reading short stories, and they have been really surprising to me. They were not what I expected at all. So I want to continue. This is one where I really am going to try to do the whole challenge each month. So I picked up this book, and it should be here shortly. So it is an honorary member of this haul, even though it did not get here yet. So share any thoughts you want to chip in on this. Let me know what you've bought recently, or any previews you want to give me about these particular books. I think it's a really good range. I've got a little bit of everything in here, except maybe, I don't know, I guess I don't have any fantasies, but I am excited to read these books, and I still have some more books on the cart that aren't even, they're part of the last haul that I haven't finished. So I am well stocked. So that wraps it up. I hope that you have an excellent week in reading. I'll be back on Friday for Friday Read. And until then, I hope you have a great week. See you soon. Bye.